Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. I always love talking with her. Like, she is like a breath of fresh air for the soul, the mind, the spirit, in terms of realizing what the heck's going on with us. She's an amazing psychologist. Today, I do believe we're going to talk about fear and those things that hold us back from doing what we really want in life. Anne Creekmore, psychologist, author, and so much more, is back with us. How are you today?
Great, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I get downloads in music and they just keep playing. And I feel there's a reason for it. A song popped up for me the other day, and I have 2 days ago, maybe it was yesterday. No, it was yesterday. I've listened to it like 50 times, and you think I'm kidding. I am not. And there's a lyric that resonates. I'm going to read the lyric for us. And I think this is the starting point, maybe a reason for being. Take these chances, place them in a box for a quieter time. Lights down, we up and die. The song is called Ants Marching, came out in the mid-90s, Dave Matthews Band. Well, I'm not even a big Dave Matthews fan. I don't even know where the song is coming from, why it's playing in my head, and why it showed up. But essentially, the song, it was a hit song about us living our lives as ants, and we just do, rinse and repeat every day. That's one part of it. The other part of it is take those chances, place them in a box for a quieter time, meaning that there's so many things that we want to do in life. We want to take a chance and do this, but we always say, oh, I'm too busy, or I can't do that now. So let me get to that later. I'm going to put that in that box for a quieter time. Mm-hmm. But then the rest of the lyrics go, lights down, we up and die. So we never get to realize what we could have done because we didn't take those chances. Why don't we take the chances? Why do we stop there and then come up with an excuse? I'm busy, I can't do it now, or whatever it is. And we throw it over here and get to it another time. What do you think's going on?
Well, I mean, like you said, it's like people get, busy and it's not quiet. They feel like they need to attend to other things. And then they don't do what is really their authentic self, what would really be them expressing. Maybe they, one of the things with the will on the whole fulfilled person model that I use, right, where you're supposed to care for yourself, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and then the will, you could, if your energy, if you get at a certain amount, you get $100 every day, and your will is going into addictions, for example, and you're spending $70 on your addictions that day, that leaves you only a little bit to get through life and get the basic mundane stuff you got to take care of done. Or if you're on the other end of, and this is also an addiction, codependency, where you're over functioning for other people or pleasing, or as they say, shouldn't on yourself. You're putting your energy into doing the external things to get approval. You spent your $75 there. You don't have much left over to do you. You need to do you, right? To find your authentic mission and be you. And
wow. Do you think is it going back to not only fear, but things in our subconscious that are saying, don't do it. Even though there's nothing wrong with taking a chance. I'm not talking about, let's jump off a building. So let's see what happens. No, that's, you're being protected from that in your mind.
Right.
But those things where, let's say you have a job offer and you say, I don't know if I should, I'm afraid, what if, and then you don't, or you just the opportunity confronts, or even something as simple, as maybe going with a friend, doing, an activity you've never done before. And you're like, hey, I'm too busy right now. You're not busy. You're probably not. You can always find the time for something that supports you, but we put the block up and then we don't do it. Is it fear? Is it the subconscious?
I think a lot of it is, and just different programs and our defaults, our ways of just not really being conscious or intentional as to how we're doing our lives. We're just kind of on these default modes, or we don't have the self-worth, or we guilt trip ourselves, and think we should do something else instead of, caring for ourselves. It can be a lot of different reasons. But I think of the bottom line from a lot of things is fear. Mm-hmm.
When you feel like you're missing out on things in life, and you're looking back, the last couple of weeks, like you said, you shouldn't shit on yourself, but like if you say, I should have done that, or I should have done that. Why didn't I do that? Where do you go at that point? Is that the point where it's time to get therapy, counseling, talk to somebody? If you're feeling, you know, FOMO, fear of missing out, if you feel like you're missing out on things in life, is that the point where it's like, yeah, maybe I should look deeper into this? Because it seems like there's a calling inside of you saying that you should be doing something. You should be doing these things, but you're not. You're making excuses and putting them in the box for another day.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to. In fact, I'm kind of opening up a second practice. I've had my practice for, decades, too many decades to say, but, but I'm also going to be opening up the life coaching wellness, for people that want to just figure what's their authentic mission and how do they self-actualize. They don't have to have a disorder or be in a crisis with anxiety, depression. They can just want to feel like, hey, I'm not being the best I can be. I'm not self-actualizing. I want to really know me, discover me, and do my real mission here. And I'm going to just, do that as well. And there's plenty of ways to do that and discover yourself. So it is, like you said, good to go in to therapy, work out the kinks of some disorders, but also just go in for, the wellness, the being your authentic self.
Let's go there. That word, authentic, your authentic self. How do you know when you are being authentic? And I believe in observing, studying, going on a journey, that when you really are being true to yourself, that's where like the door opens to the opportunity and all of that. How do you get to be authentic, or how do you know you really are authentic?
Well, I think that, you kind of have to go with, feelings are not facts, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying at the same time, just kind of like, I think you can get your authentic self by just noticing when you feel joy, when you have a passion for something. And even growing up as a child, what were those things that you felt, that just you felt good about, and you just wanted to pursue them? They gave it a natural high, not a high you have to take something to get high, but just doing it, you feel fulfilled, or natural high. And that's clues to, what
Yes.
is authentic mission? What are your authentic passions? Discover those, spend time around that, noticing.
That's a great point. And I had that realization not long ago, that think back to when you were a kid and what it felt like. Everything was new. You could be a teen. It doesn't have to be a 7-year-old.
Right.
Everything was fun, interesting. Now, side note, I get it. You didn't have kids. You didn't have mortgage payments, rent, car payments, and all of that. So
Right.
I get it. Adulting happens. But that curiosity, that joy, that hobby you had, I had it. I want to share I don't know if I ever said this, but it was, it goes to what you're talking about today, Ann. I had a quieter weekend about a month ago, and Monday morning, I was just very chill. It's all good. Get in the car and I'm driving, come to a light, staring at my steering wheel. And I'm looking at the detail while I'm waiting for the light. And it's like, wow, look at how I did that. That's really cool. The blend of the leather, the emblem on the steering wheel. It's like, well, look at that. Look at that. How they did that. Wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
In that flash, for 4 seconds, I went back to my childhood. I felt like I was a kid again, looking at something with new eyes.
That's
It
beautiful.
was a wild feeling for the 4 seconds. And I can tell you
Yes.
which light it was. Well, I can tell you what time it was when I was at the light. And
It's kind of you got right back into your child's self, the innocent, you know.
curiosity.
Yes, and that part of you that just had that all that energy too, right? And you just were experiencing it like you did when you were a child.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was even one time I remember I was in my mid 20s, yeah, right around there, still living at home, and I loved broadcasting. I built a transmitter, I would go on the air. It was a Saturday, and I remember I got the whole day off. I was already working in radio, but I still would play. It was a hobby. I still do, this is for me, this is fun.
Hmm.
I was running down the stairs to the basement to play in my studio. Again, I'm in my mid 20s, big kid. I jump up. This is great, man. And jump up. I hit my head on the door frame, knocked myself out,
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
split my head open, call my friend, girlfriend at the time. They come over and they're like, dude, you probably should get some stitches. I'm like, man, I don't want them to cut my hair. I waited the entire day, but it didn't close up. I
Oh
eventually had to
no.
go to urgent care and
Oh
get stitches.
no.
But, but my point to the silliness is it was that joy, like you described, that innocence of a kid, how we don't have that now.
You're
And
right.
and we're missing it.
Right. You were exuberant. But
The
you
word.
did follow your mission. You're doing it now, I mean, so you did know what made you happy and what your passion was, and you did do it. Even if you got bumped on the head, you still continued. So good
As long as they didn't cut my hair. And even when I went to urgent care, the guy didn't even speak English. I'm like, no cut hair. So he like pieced it up, he
No
put it apart,
scissors.
and then got in there and sewed it up and everything. But it could be, I could have enjoyed, playing with Elmer's glue and popsicle sticks, whatever it might be.
Yeah,
It's that innocence, that curiosity, that just that fun of enjoying life and taking those chances instead of putting them in the box because you did it when
absolutely.
you were younger, you know.
Absolutely. And just being now you're getting in touch with, when you feel that energy and that your creative self, your real authentic self, and you feel good and happy and energetic. And like they say about jobs, if you get a job you like, then you never have to work again. So because you're doing your passion. So it sounds like you
Hmm.
followed that dream. That's what we need to do. We need to, help people get to following their dreams, connecting to who they really are, their child creative, inner creative, innocent, creative, authentic self mission.
Do you feel that a lot of what we're talking about here goes to what they call our purpose in life, what we were destined to do,
Mhm.
why we're even here in the first place? And until you truly hit that, you're really not going to be your full authentic self.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. You just, have to be still, be with yourself, experience yourself. And when you feel that natural high, notice that and you feel good, follow that, you know, and just start building on it. Even if it's just a little bit by little bit, just keep going in that direction, following your North Star, as they call it, and just be your authentic self.
As so we know what we need to do, so we reverse engineer it. How do we get there? Is what are some of the exercises, things we can do to find that authenticity?
Mhm. Um, well, I think that, I mean, the whole fulfilled person chart, that I have in my
Which in
book,
your book, yes.
each and love yourself, love your life, kind of a recovery model where you look at these different areas of your life and what makes you feel joy or passions in all the areas, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, your will, what you're taking care of and so on. And trying to see, what made you feel, high growing up and now, and do those things that make you feel fulfilled in those areas. So kind of mind, body, spirit. And then, at that, don't get hooked into, putting all your energy, like I was talking about earlier, where, you've got a certain amount of money you're given every day, for example, $100. And if you're putting 70 of it into, spending time, just doing some addictive thing a good part of the time that distracts you from fulfilling yourself, or being codependent and taking care, or just caretaking somebody, or being obsessed with making money, or whatever your addiction could be. If all your energy is going in there, you've got to start figuring out what makes you really feel fulfilled in these areas and cut back on that, spending so much money gambling, for example, or, or just playing video games, or watching porn, or, or just, being taking care of other people all the time. Anything that just sidetracks you from having at least 2 hours a day, 1 or 2 hours, just to take care of you, mind, body, spirit. People should be able to find that time, even if they have children, to just kind of, most days, find that time to spend for yourself and keep building on it. Because even if you do a small amount of something, it will add up over the course of the week. And you won't have spent it all in one place shopping instead of, on you painting when you want to be a painter.
I guess it goes back to the lyrics of that song, because those, call them addictions, distractions, whatever they are.
Yeah, right.
They are getting in the way of taking those chances so that you can live the life that you really want to live.
Absolutely.
And you're putting everything off to the side. Well, I don't have time to I can't deal with that because I'm doing this now. This could be one of those distractions or addictions that you're dependent on. But ultimately, it's just a cover up for you being afraid to admit that you can't take a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately.
Yeah. Or feeling you're not worthy enough to do it.
Right.
Or feeling
Right.
guilty, like thinking, I suggested to one client who's very caretaking to his wife, and which is wonderful. But instead of always just doing something to diffuse anger on her part, to walk on eggshells with her, to say, well, if something's coming up, instead of just immediately pacifying her, think to yourself, well, she would like me to do this, but what could I do for myself first? Just a little clue, like, well, I did want to go make that call for my doctor's appointment. All right, I'll just do that, and then I'll get to that. Like trying to break that codependent over pattern by at least inserting himself in there, before. She's the cue. She needs something. Well, you do too. You're part of the crew there. You do something for you first, and then move to take care of something for somebody else. If that's your issue, the codependency, it's got to that pattern a little.
Great talking with you today.
Yeah.
Great
talking to you.
It's I have these ideas. I get a song lyric and I wonder why I'm hearing it, but then you put science and experience behind it and understanding, why we do what we do. Psychologytoday.com is the best way to find you if we just put your name in there and Creekmore.
Correct. It'll go to my website with all my data. You can find me.
And of course, links to your book. Pen name, by the way, is AP Filosa. And the book you referenced before, Love Yourself, Love Your Life, it's everything we're talking about, everything we always talk about. I call it the life manual. It's all in there, and it's very easy to understand. Thank you for today. We'll catch up soon, okay?
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Ann.
you.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.